You know when a drop of water falls into a puddle, you expect to see the circles spread out from the drop point. Well, what if I told you the actions motivated from our feelings create the same effect for ourselves? Reverberation. That's what we will reflect on today. Welcome to HEARTEN, a podcast that helps you prepare to take heart. I'm Hill, and welcome. If you're looking to journey into a safer and freer life through mindfulness, I invite you to follow or subscribe so that you will have these calming moments readily available with you. If you're looking to build a healthier life beyond this podcast, I encourage you to subscribe to Hill Chan Productions on YouTube. That's HILL space CHAN space PRODUCTIONS, where you'll find these episodes along with other content where we will explore the many ways to lead healthier and safer lives. Before we begin, a quick note. While I am here to walk alongside and share empathy, food for thought, and observations, this podcast is not a substitute for professional medical or psychiatric advice, diagnosis, direction, or treatment. There is no shame in seeking professional advice for difficult times, a mental health checkup, or anything weighing on your heart. We all want to feel well inside. Now, let's breathe and hearten by finding a comfortable position followed by 3 deep breaths. Breathe in for 3, 2, 3, and exhale through your mouth. Again. And out for 4. Last time. 2, 3, 4, and blow everything out. Good. Keep breathing deeply as we continue. I have a bit of a confession to share. The other day, I had just finished work. My neck was tense, body felt stiff, and stressed from the day I just had. Plus, I was also just recovering from a nasty cough and was low in energy. Suffice it to say, I was not feeling my best. And of course, the environment also worsened in that moment. Just as I sat down to relax in my living area, my neighbors were hollering at the top of their lungs and relentlessly stomping. The walls could not have felt thinner that day. I did not have any energy to make a noise complaint and deal with the aftermath of that. At this point, I'd had enough. Sound familiar? Breathe in again. And as you exhale, bring to mind someone or a situation that has been eating at you. It doesn't matter how long this has been going on for. Although, it's possible it has already gotten to the point where you've been eaten through and you've had enough. This could be anything from the past or present. It could be that time you also had noisy neighbors. Or it could be your or someone else's habit that takes you away from enjoying the present. What emotion surfaces for you? Breathe in again and exhale. Is it frustration? Overwhelm? Does it feel like the world is falling apart? As you breathe in, notice where you're tensing up in the body and massage that area. Sometimes it helps to just firmly press on it and give it a bit of a squeeze. So back to my story. How did these neighbors of mine make me feel? I was super frustrated and annoyed. After all, the noise was not helping me to relax. It did the opposite. The more noise they made, the more built up inside of me. The fruit of bitterness was growing, and I didn't even know it. My reaction to the situation? Not my proudest moment, and definitely futile and quite silly. In protest, I turned up the volume to the peaceful spa-like music I had playing on the speakers. And as you probably guessed, there was nothing peaceful about it. The neighbors continued storming, and the reverberations from my own music bounced off my own walls and into my head back and forth. Reverberation. It doesn't just apply to the physics of actual noise and physical objects. Reverberation can result from our own actions. Let's start with reverberations from our own difficult feelings. More and more these days, I hear people wish karma on someone who hurt them. An example of this is wishing the person who hurt us to meet their demise. Believe it or not, the place from which this wishing comes from is bitterness. Perhaps you've noticed it too. Holding on to vengeance or hoping for someone's downfall only makes the issue linger in our minds longer than it deserves to. Plus, as much as it might feel empowering to think we can exact our impact on the outcome of the other person, the reality is we simply can't. In fact, in doing so, we face our own reverberations. We end up receiving the backlash of our own impulsive, uninformed attempts to take back control. Put simply, hoping or giving someone what we think they deserve often does not create the intended effect and often results in actions and thoughts we regret. In other words, we control what we do. But we can't exactly know how the other person will perceive it. In contrast, reverberation is solely the natural result of our own actions. From my own reaction of turning up the volume, I ended up giving myself a headache. I also defeated the positive purpose of the music. The peaceful music was no longer peaceful, but simply too loud. Plus, my reaction had little to no effect on my neighbors. I mean, in my neighbors' own noise, would they really have heard my loudness? When we spite those who hurt us by overtly pretending that we're so unaffected by their inconsiderate or even menacing actions, we might realize much later that the negativity inside of us increases. In our attempt to get back at someone, we actually end up neglecting the key to alleviating the root pain. That is, processing our own feelings and recovering from our wounds. And bitterness, it's like the festering of a wound. An emotion that was thrown into the closet and that over time screams louder and louder to be let out. And that's often when we feel closer and closer to saying, enough is enough. So, how do we resolve it before we get to the point where we're so fed up we can't think properly? 1, we focus on healing. That's the end goal. And when we focus on what it takes to get there, that brings us to the immediate issue that requires our attention. We recognize the feelings that come out of the someone or situation that's bothering us. It's okay if it's over a small thing. Splinters in our skin can be small. Small, but mightily painful. And unless we look for that splinter, in this case, that's all the feelings and thoughts that come from a person or situation that increasingly bothers us. There's no way we know how to solve it. Breathe in. We are practicing self-compassion. Of course, once we pinpoint specific reasons why we are bothered, we can start working on ways to resolve it. Maybe it's going out for a walk to take a break. Maybe it's having a difficult but needed conversation. It might be time to set new boundaries. Whatever it is, when we take the time after feeling the pains of a recurrent issue, we're slowing down to listen to ourselves and the reverberations from sitting with ourselves without entertaining vengeful plans or silencing our own feelings give way to wiser and healthier solutions than what might result in the heat of the moment. So, as we end off, let's get you started into coming back to the right now. Breathe in. Notice what is around and within you. Inhale one more time. And as we breathe out, remember, give yourself time to listen to what pains your heart. If you found this episode helpful, like and save it to your playlist. I hope you're a little more heartened. Until next time, be here for you. You deserve to be here, safe, healthy, and loved.